repeat this a bunch of times, but this is, if you don't already know, this is Anthony Agati from Paranormal News Network, and I am here in Letchworth Village in Thiells, New York. It is an abandoned, old psychiatric insane asylum that has been abandoned for, I'd say maybe 22 years or so. I think it was in 1996 when this place actually officially closed down. But it has a seeded history. It's actually one of the notorious insane asylums in New York that had a bad reputation for inappropriate experiments on people, but especially children. So I'll give you a little bit of a history. The place was opened in 1911, I believe, and the architect and the owner of the place, William Letchworth, he actually died before this place was finished. And the purpose of this place was actually, you can hear me with this wind and stuff, the purpose and the meaning for this place was to house and hold what they called people who were retarded, people who had mental health issues, people who were sick, or where to house them, where to put them. So this place is actually huge, very big. It's about 130 buildings altogether here on, I want to say, maybe over 2,000 acres of land. And at the height or the peak of residents here, the number reached, I believe it was 3,000. That's the maximum that this place could actually hold, with about, I think there was a max of maybe 10,000 workers or volunteers that were once working at this place and trying to take care of the patients and the residents here at Letchworth. I'm actually walking down to this area over here right now because this building, for some reason, when I was standing all the way up on that hill over there, I heard a door close. Now it is kind of windy out here, and let me see if I can flip this. So like I said, it is an abandoned asylum. Closed down in 1996. One of the reasons why it actually closed down, let me flip this back here. One of the reasons why this place closed down was, I believe it was Geraldo Rivera. I don't know if it was in the 70s or 80s or not. Can't remember the actual time frame, but Geraldo Rivera was actually doing an expose on another asylum that was reportedly being very inhumane to many of its patients, and was trying to expose them for their actions. And uh, eventually was able to close down the actual asylum that he was, originally reporting on, and actually did a really good job at changing the way that institutions and organizations, that was the purpose for buildings like this, and for organizations like this, to help treat patients, help treat the mentally ill, actually change the way that they operated their institutions. And so it was actually a really good thing. But while this was going on, and while Geraldo Rivera was exposing this other asylum, it actually opened up people's minds to the ideas of, well, what else is going on at other places? And this place, Letchworth Village, was sort of first on the list for people to question. One notable piece of history that went on here at Letchworth Village, it's hard to say that name, Letchworth Village. One of the notable pieces of history at this place, here, let me turn it around so that you get an idea of what I'm actually looking at. One notable point in history was in the 1940s. Letchworth Village was undergoing experiments and tests on, unwittingly and unknowingly, on children. And one of the outcomes, or one of the reasons why they were testing these children, were to find vaccines for polio, or a cure somehow for polio. Although they did horrible experiments on children here, they actually did find the vaccine for polio. And that came out, I believe, in the 40s, mid to late 40s, I believe. Just walking around. For those of you who have just tuned in, I am at sort of upstate New York, Thiells, New York, Haverstraw, New York, at Letchworth Village. If you know what Letchworth Village is, it is an old abandoned insane asylum on about 2,000 acres, or a little bit more than 2,000 acres of land, and approximately 130 buildings altogether on this land here, and they're all abandoned. This is the old roadway that's now closed off to civilians, but you can actually walk on this. You're only allowed to, from what I've heard, stay on this roadway. You cannot actually go into these buildings. It is considered trespassing. Don't open dead inside. Of course, New York. What would New York be without vandalism? Most of these buildings look like this. They are, let's see if I can get it closer. They're just overgrown, uncared for, unattended. The city basically has just left it the way it is and the way it was since it closed down in 1996. The original plan was to actually take down all of these buildings and build co-ops or housing. But that never happened. Well, actually it did for part of the land, but this still remains untouched. Let's see if I can zoom in over there. I'm going to go back this way. I'm going to go back to that other building because, as I said before, if you didn't catch me, I actually heard a door close inside this building that we're going to walk to right now. I just got here about 5 minutes ago. Let me turn the camera. There I am. I just got here about 5-10 minutes ago. There's really nobody in here. I saw a couple of people that were walking out as I pulled up, but that's about it. It is a cold day here in New York, as you can hear my voice and my sniffling. So we're gonna go over to this building. Let's see, right over here. If you didn't catch the beginning of this when I first came on, I gave a little bit of a history rundown. This is Letchworth Village in Thiells, New York, upstate New York. It is an old abandoned and supposedly haunted insane asylum that was around for maybe a good 70 years or so. And it's notable because, as with many early 20th century insane asylums, overcrowding and inhumane experiments went on at this place that pretty much led to the closing of it in 1996. Can you believe that there were patients in here until 1996? Most of the inhumane actions happened in the 40s and 50s. And as I mentioned before, they were done, one notable experiment was done on children in the mid to late 1940s to find the vaccine for polio. None of the children did it willingly. None of them, or I'm assuming most of them, did not even know that they were being tested. And just heard a squeak again over there in this building. I don't know if it's the wind, because it is sort of kind of windy here. And obviously there are open windows and open doorways and things of that nature. But this building here is the one that I'm talking about, that I heard a door slam pretty loud, pretty hard. And at the time that it happened, there was no wind. See, now, if you guys remember, if you were here in the very beginning, this door was not open. Let's flip this around. Okay. Don't want to go in. See if I can get closer to this place here. can see on this building here, the entire top floor is gone. The door says free candy. Alright. If you hang out with me, I'm just going to take a couple photos. Okay. Damn it. All right. So much for that. My camera died. Okay. Let's keep walking. Let's go around this way. So the guy that actually built this place, was the owner of this place, William Letchworth. He actually died before the grounds were completely finished. So he never actually got to see the finished land and the finished buildings, as well as be around for when this insane asylum was actually in working condition and up and running. So that's kind of interesting. It's a view of that same building. As you can see, the entire roof is out. I mean, this place is huge. Huge. 2,000 acres, over 2,000 acres, and 130 buildings. And the height of its working condition, I believe it was in the 50s, was when this place housed over 3,000 people. It actually became overcrowded, and this led to a lot of neglect that went on. It's a cool shot. Let's see if we can get in there. So, as this place being overcrowded, you could imagine the neglect that went on. And treatment that they all received. Alright, I'm going to do something that I probably should not be doing. Just going to cross over here.